High in the mountains, where the clouds hung so low they touched the earth, there stood a tiny mud house balanced on the edge of a cliff. The house looked simple, almost fragile, but it had been there longer than any village below could remember. Every traveler who had ever passed through the valley heard the same whisper. There is an old man who lives above the sky, the man who lives on the edge of the world. His name was Eron, and he had lived on that cliff for more than 50 years. Eron's house was small, one room, a clay stove, shelves carved from the mountain wall. Outside the house stood a woman, his wife, gently preparing food. Her name was Mira, and she had lived beside him through storms, winters, and endless miles of silence. She cooked the way her mother taught her, slow, patient, full of care. But the most unusual thing was how Eron traveled. Because the path to his home was not a road, not a trail, not even a staircase. It was a hanging wooden bridge, shaking in the wind, stretching from one mountain peak to another. A bridge so thin that every step felt like it could be your last. And yet, every morning, Eron would climb onto his old bicycle, its tires worn, its seat patched with cloth, and carry a heavy basket of apples across that dangerous bridge. The apples were bright red, picked from a hidden orchard deep in the valley below. Eron would rise before sunrise, walk down the mountain path, gather the apples, and begin the long, trembling journey back up. People always wondered, why does he live so far away? What is he protecting? Why risk his life every day? But no one knew the truth. No one except Mira. He had been a carpenter, one of the best. Eron hadn't always lived in the mountains. Long ago, when he was a young man, he lived in a large village full of noise and crowds. People trusted him to build their homes, their furniture, even their boats. He worked with strong hands and a kind heart. But life changed the day the great fire came. It started in the center of the village, spreading faster than anyone could stop. The wind blew sparks into roofs, fire jumped from one home to another, and smoke swallowed the sky. Eron tried to help people escape, but the flames were stronger. He lost his family, his workshop, and everything he had ever built. When the fire finally died, the village was gone. Eron couldn't bear the memories. So he climbed into the mountains, searching for silence. That was when he found Mira, alone, living in a small hut. She had lost her family in a storm the same year. Two broken souls, hiding from the world, found comfort in each other. They rebuilt the small house together. They planted fruit trees on the hidden side of the mountain. And slowly, the pain became something else, a quiet strength. Years passed. People in the valley began to hear stories of a man who grew the sweetest apples they had ever tasted. Children whispered that his apples had magic, that they cured sadness. Adults believed he was a hermit with ancient wisdom. But Eron and Mira never thought of themselves as magical. They simply lived in peace, working with patience, sharing what little they had. Every time Eron crossed the hanging bridge with his bicycle, the wind tried to push him sideways. The wooden planks creaked beneath him. Some days, clouds covered the bridge, and he could only see the next 2 steps. But he kept going, because Mira was waiting on the other side, stirring warm soup, smiling gently when she saw him appear through the mountain fog. Their life was simple, but it was theirs. One year, after a long winter, a young traveler named Leo climbed the mountain to ask Eron a question. He had heard the stories, the old man who never leaves the mountain, the old man who survived tragedy, the old man whose apples healed hearts. Leo wanted to know how Eron stayed strong. When he arrived at the edge of the cliff, he watched Eron crossing the bridge, balancing the heavy basket of apples. Leo's heart almost stopped watching the old man move so calmly on such a dangerous path. When Eron reached the house, Leo stepped forward and bowed respectfully. "Master Eron," he said, "I came here because I am lost in life. You suffered more than I ever have, but you live with peace." "How?" Eron laughed softly. "I am no master," he said. "I am just a man who has learned to live with the wind." Leo looked confused. Eron saw it and pointed toward the shaking bridge. "That bridge taught me everything," he continued. "When the fire took my family, I thought my life had ended. I tried to run from my pain, like many do. But pain follows you. You cannot escape it. You can only carry it with balance, like crossing this bridge. When you walk, the wind pushes you, fear shakes you, but you take one step, then another, then another. You don't think about the end. You think about the next plank under your foot. That is how life works. We move forward, even when our heart is broken, even when the road is narrow, even when the world tells us it is impossible." Mira came outside with warm bread and soup. She smiled at Leo, welcoming him as if he were family. As they ate together on the cliff, Leo felt a calm he had never known. The mountains were quiet, the sky endless, kept the air clean. He realized why Eron and Mira lived there. It wasn't to escape the world, it was to understand it. After spending days with them, Leo finally asked, "Will you ever return to the village?" Eron looked at the horizon where the clouds blended with the mountains. "The world doesn't need me down there," he said. "But up here, I can give something small, a moment of peace to those who seek it." Mira added softly, "And peace is the greatest gift." When Leo left the mountain, he carried only one apple with him, the brightest one in the basket. But that apple was not a fruit. It was a reminder. Peace comes not from where you live, but from how you walk through your storms. Years later, villagers still spoke of the old man who lived on the edge of the world. Some said he could talk to the wind, others believed he could see the future. But the truth was simple. Eron was a man who had suffered greatly, but chose kindness over bitterness. A man who lost everything, but rebuilt something beautiful. A man who walked a shaking bridge every day, not because he had to, but because love waited for him on the other side. And up in the mountains, where clouds met stone, the old man and his wife continued their quiet life, cooking, growing apples, and welcoming anyone brave enough to cross the trembling bridge to find them. Because sometimes, the greatest wisdom is found in the highest, quietest places of the world.